Ahead of speaking for the succeeding minutes, I'd like all of you to close your eyes. I want you to use your other senses and try to create a perception of the moment at hand. You can hear me. In addition, you can acknowledge the fact that I'm not in front of you, but the sound is coming from your computer. It is also possible to lift your computer and feel its weight. Nevertheless, that's all. Because you can't see me, your perception of your surroundings is quite limited. You can open your eyes now. How does it feel? Doesn't it feel that you can assess the world better? That you can discern more? After that exercise, I think we can all agree that our vision is one of the most important sense, making the eyes an essential sensory organ. Factual research shows that we analyze over 80% of our surroundings using our vision. Let's pretend that all our sensory organs provide the computer found upstairs in our skull with data. Eyes provide visual input, ears auditory input, our nose olfactory, and so on. Our brain then uses this data to create what I call a sketch of our surroundings. The more data we collect from our surroundings, the better the sketch will be. With our eyes closed, the sketch could look like an MP3 commentary of a football match. When paying a little more attention, it may look like an oil painting. And when our spidey sense is online, it could look like a person standing right in front of you. Trivia question: does anybody know which educational subject relies most on this data? Let's crack the code together. Which school subject is heavily based on what we see around us? Hint 1. It requires us to draw a sketch of our surroundings. Drawing. How about art? Talking of art, raise your hands if you like art. Wow, we have a lot of painters and sketchers over here. Me, personally, I'm more of a science person. Any of you like science? Wait, that's the answer. Science is the study of the natural world. Scientific knowledge is heavily based on one's interpretations of this natural world. The interpretations that are the backbone of science are closely linked to one's observations, or as I like to call, one's ability to sketch the world. The more refined the sketch is, the greater our observation is. And that brings us to today's topic: observation, the science behind discovery and development. The beginnings of science have been mapped to over 5,000 years ago. Even the word science is a millennia old, being derived from the Latin word scientia, meaning knowledge. But like the volume of a gas, science too has revised over the centuries. The roots of science come from mythology. Due to greater influence of religious ideas, atoms and Big Bangs were replaced by gods and war. These scientific ideas are more, let's just say, interesting compared to what we usually encounter in high school. Observation is essential here. But almost 2 millennia ago, there was another important variable, something I call creative liberty. There was no known centrifugal force that the scholars had to follow to explain why electrons do not collide into their nucleus. There was no restriction. So, rather than making a research paper with evidence and facts based on observation, they wrote a story, and an interesting one at that. Then, one scientific ideas were closely linked to their culture. Different cultures fabricated different stories on how the world worked based on their mythological lore. The ancient civilizations weren't all about fairy tales and gods. Many advancements and discoveries that were made at that time we still use today, such as the Pythagoras theorem or the use of concrete. Without any scientific equipment, satellites, space stations, or even calculators, the ancient Greeks made a fairly accurate estimate on the Earth's circumference. The roots of modern science, scientific ideas such as elements and genetics, were also sprouted in the same era. Modern science would not be where it is if it wasn't for these ancient empires. But years later, during the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, and countless other times, modern science, in many ways, has replaced these old trends of thinking. Now, if you look at what I just said, without any scientific equipment, satellites, space stations, or even calculators, the ancient Greeks made a fairly accurate estimate on the Earth's circumference. You can notice two words that distinguish modern science from, let's just say, medieval and older science: fairly and estimate. This was the flaw. The mythological based science would draw the bow in the right direction and even aim on the target. but would miss. Just by a little, but it would miss. In terms of archery, these ancient civilizations didn't assess the wind speed before shooting. In this analogy, the wind speed is our skill of observation, something that time and again is proven to be the cause of discovery and development. The observational science that is prevalent today is almost as old as science itself. But unlike the science that claimed that the Earth was the center of the universe, observational science was like the hair, the tail of the hare and turtle. It started the race pretty fast, but then decided to take a nap. For a few thousand years, mind you, while napping, it did move towards the finish line, but every step it took forward, it took half a step backwards. The Mesopotamians, who were the first farmers, had made a quite astonishing observation on the sky. They saw the stars and identified a pattern, one that spanned a whole year. Wow. Today, I don't think I can wait a week to watch the next episode of my favorite show. A year? That's quite an astronomical observation. One that helped develop an annual calendar and provided the knowledge of seasons, an expanse of a year, and constellations to the farmers at that time. This helped us create a yearly cycle of when to harvest the crops and so on. I guess a year of waiting finally paid off for them and us. Going a few thousand years into the future to the 16th century, let's meet a young 25-year-old Galileo who, at this time, was experimenting with gravity. In the books of medieval and older science, the chapter written on falling objects by Aristotle stated that heavier objects fall to the ground faster than lighter objects. But seems logical, right? Our ancestors thought the same thing for 2000 years until Galileo designed the true story. As a science student, I truly admire Aristotle. I am fascinated by how he thought differently compared to scholars of his time. But what? He made such a bold statement. He said that objects fall to the ground at a speed proportional to their weight. But as a scholar who dedicated his whole life to science, couldn't he take a rock and a pillow, which was surprisingly an old invention at that time, and drop them? Then, after a very long 2000 years, Galileo decided to make a simple observation. He, unlike his predecessor, decided to drop objects and finally added an observation based theory on the velocity of falling objects that is proven to be true. Again, medieval and older science was replaced by a more evidential and observational science. About 10 minutes ago, I made a simple observation. Mankind's greatest tool in development and discovery is observation. And after that eventful journey through time, we can deduce my observation to be true. As a child, Thomas Edison once made his friend eat worms to see if it would make a fly. He made a simple observation: birds fly and birds eat worms. I spoke of how observation has been the cause of major development and has been the spark that lit the fire of discovery. It was the cause of us finding out about gravity or truly understanding aerodynamics. But these are all just scientific. That is not the only field where observation is essential. As a student, it is really important to read the problems in an exam to make sure that you take the right figures from the word problem and don't mistake a 1.5 for a 15. Believe me, I learned the hard way that reading the question correctly is as important as writing neat handwriting in an exam. As a goalkeeper, it is essential to keep a close watch on the opposing players to be ready for every shot that comes your way. For a director, it is important to observe every scene and part of the movie to create a flawless masterpiece. I started my talk with an observation, and I will end it with another. Observation is the cause of every success and failure in our lives. Thank you.